Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The NFL world is buzzing tonight with one of the most shocking moves in recent memory, a seismic shift that could redefine the balance of power across the league, sending shockwaves from New York to Miami and beyond. Sources indicate that All-Pro cornerback Justin Fields, long considered the cornerstone of the Jets' defensive strategy, has officially parted ways with the team in a move that has left fans, analysts, and rival organizations scrambling to adjust their expectations. The Jets, who had relied heavily on Fields' extraordinary coverage skills, his uncanny ability to read quarterbacks, and his knack for turning seemingly impossible plays into game-changing moments, are now facing a defensive void that will be nearly impossible to fill overnight. Meanwhile, whispers from the Dolphins' front office suggest that they have acted swiftly, moving aggressively behind the scenes to secure Fields in a deal that could immediately catapult their secondary into elite territory. Sources close to the situation describe the negotiations as intense, highly secretive, and executed with a sense of urgency that only the knowledge of Fields' unparalleled talent could justify. While official statements are scarce, insiders hint that this acquisition might not just be about filling a roster spot, but about sending a clear message to the rest of the league. Miami intends to dominate defensively. The implications of Fields' departure for the Jets extend far beyond a single game or even a single season, creating ripples that could affect draft strategies, free agency plans, and coaching decisions for years to come. Analysts are already speculating on the long-term impact, suggesting that the Jets may need to pivot to a more aggressive pass rush strategy or invest in multiple defensive backs to compensate for the loss of a single generational talent. The locker room, sources indicate, has been left in shock, with players reportedly grappling with the sudden absence of a teammate who was not only a defensive anchor but also a vocal leader, a player who could inspire confidence and calm under the most intense pressure. Meanwhile, Miami's camp is described as euphoric yet carefully controlled, with team executives acutely aware that the addition of Fields represents not just a short-term boost, but a strategic long-term investment. Rumors also suggest that Fields' contract is structured in a way that allows the Dolphins to leverage his presence for both performance and marketing purposes, elevating the team's profile in a league where star power increasingly intersects with brand value. Insiders suggest that the Dolphins see Fields as a transformative figure, someone who can mentor younger players while immediately altering game plans in favor of Miami's defensive schemes, creating an aura of inevitability around the team's future matchups. From a tactical standpoint, the acquisition of Fields by the Dolphins could necessitate a complete recalibration of opposing offenses' approaches. Quarterbacks who previously relied on exploiting specific weaknesses in Miami's secondary may now find themselves staring down one of the league's most formidable defensive presences. Observers have speculated that Fields' ability to anticipate routes, disrupt timing, and force turnovers could fundamentally change how teams game plan against Miami, potentially creating a ripple effect across the entire conference. Analysts note that his combination of speed, agility, and football intelligence is exceedingly rare, and his transition from New York to Miami could provide immediate dividends, particularly in crucial divisional matchups where a single turnover or interception can swing momentum irreversibly. Inside sources describe the Dolphins' coaching staff as meticulously planning Fields' integration, mapping out coverage assignments and situational strategies that could maximize his impact while maintaining overall defensive cohesion. There is talk that Fields' arrival may even influence Miami's draft priorities, potentially freeing up resources to bolster other areas while relying on his presence to anchor secondary performance. Meanwhile, the Jets' defensive coordinators are reportedly brainstorming contingency plans, acknowledging that losing Fields represents not just a tactical setback, but a psychological one, as his departure could embolden opposing offenses and create uncertainty within the team's defensive ranks. The social media reaction to Fields' move has been nothing short of explosive, with fans of both the Jets and Dolphins flooding platforms with speculation, analysis, and unabashed emotion. Memes, highlight clips, and reaction videos have proliferated at an astonishing rate, reflecting the intensity of public engagement with the story. Sports commentators and influencers are dissecting every angle, from contract details to potential scheme adjustments, creating a constant stream of content that keeps the rumor mill spinning at full speed. Observers note that the narrative surrounding Fields' transfer is particularly compelling because it combines elements of high-stakes strategy, personal ambition, and league-wide ramifications, a trifecta that fuels endless debate and conjecture. Even casual fans are drawn into the conversation, weighing in with opinions on whether the Jets mishandled the situation or if Miami executed a masterstroke of timing and negotiation. Sources suggest that behind the scenes, both teams are acutely aware of the optics, carefully calibrating public statements to maintain professionalism while subtly influencing fan perception. The story has also prompted renewed interest in Fields' previous performances, with highlight reels dissected for clues about how his skills might mesh with Miami's defensive philosophy. Rumors abound about potential ripple effects for upcoming trades, free agent signings, and even coaching staff adjustments, as league insiders scramble to reassess priorities in light of this game-changing move. Speculation about the timing of Fields' departure has fueled even more intrigue, with whispers suggesting that the Jets may have been internally divided on the decision, debating the risks and rewards of allowing a star player to leave mid-season versus the potential long-term benefits of a strategic roster reconfiguration. Some insiders hint at behind-the-scenes tension between management and coaching staff, with differing opinions on how best to maximize the value of a player whose skill set is so exceptional that it could redefine team dynamics. On the Dolphins' side, sources describe a sense of methodical precision, as executives apparently orchestrated the acquisition with a combination of urgency and foresight, ensuring that Fields would not be snatched up by rival franchises. Rumors suggest that negotiations involved multiple contingency plans, clauses, and performance incentives, indicating that both sides recognize the high stakes involved in this transaction. Observers point out that Fields' presence could have a cascading effect on Miami's defensive play calling, potentially allowing for more aggressive blitzing, tighter man-to-man coverage, and greater flexibility in rotating personnel without sacrificing effectiveness. The intrigue surrounding the timing, the contract structure, and the potential for immediate impact has kept fans and analysts alike in a constant state of anticipation, with speculation continuing to dominate the conversation long after official announcements were made. The cultural and psychological impact of Fields' move cannot be overstated, with sources suggesting that locker rooms, fan bases, and even rival teams are adjusting to the sudden shift in league dynamics. For the Jets, the departure of a player who had become synonymous with defensive excellence represents not just a strategic setback, but an emotional one, as teammates reportedly struggle to reconcile the sudden absence of a leader whose presence inspired confidence and unity. Meanwhile, Miami is said to be harnessing the energy and excitement surrounding Fields' arrival to galvanize both players and fans, creating a sense of momentum that could translate into on-field performance. Analysts speculate that Fields' influence extends beyond measurable metrics, potentially shaping team culture, mentoring younger players, and serving as a catalyst for a broader strategic vision. Rumors circulating among insiders suggest that opposing teams are already recalibrating their offensive schemes, acknowledging that Fields' arrival may force a reevaluation of passing strategies, route combinations, and quarterback reads. Even casual observers have weighed in, noting that the optics of the move, an all-pro corner leaving a storied franchise for a rising contender, contributes to a narrative of power shifts and ambition that resonates far beyond the gridiron. As the league absorbs the implications, one thing is clear. Justin Fields' move from the Jets to the Dolphins has become more than a transaction. It has become a defining storyline of the NFL season, a rumor-fueled saga that will dominate conversations, strategy sessions, and media coverage for weeks to come. As the news of Justin Fields joining the Dolphins spreads, speculation about the broader implications continues to escalate, with insiders suggesting that this move could trigger a domino effect across the league, particularly in terms of defensive acquisitions and strategic planning. Rival teams are reportedly evaluating their rosters, assessing whether their current cornerback depth can withstand the heightened competition Miami now presents, while some are already rumored to be exploring trades or free agent signings in response. Sources close to the Dolphins indicate that Fields' presence has not only bolstered the team's on-field capabilities, but has also provided a psychological edge, giving Miami a renewed sense of confidence and a perception of invincibility heading into crucial matchups. Analysts argue that Fields' ability to read offenses and anticipate plays could fundamentally alter not only the team's defensive schemes, but also the overall approach of opponents, who may now be forced to adapt game plans mid-season to counter his skill set. Behind closed doors, coaching staff are reportedly engaged in meticulous film study, crafting coverage assignments and situational strategies designed to maximize Fields' impact, from red zone scenarios to third down pressures. The rumor mill is rife with conjecture about potential adjustments to personnel rotations, suggesting that Fields' arrival could enable more aggressive blitz packages, tighter coverage combinations, and a degree of flexibility previously unavailable, creating a sense of anticipation and tension throughout the NFL landscape. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Observers are also noting the potential ripple effects on the Jets' organizational strategy, with whispers that management is evaluating a variety of contingency plans to stabilize a defense suddenly deprived of one of its most dynamic and influential players. Sources suggest that discussions may involve drafting priorities, exploring trade options for emerging talents, or even considering changes to the defensive coaching structure to compensate for Fields' absence. Rumors indicate that some within the organization are questioning whether letting Fields leave could ultimately serve as a long-term strategic decision, trading immediate defensive strength for flexibility in salary cap management and future acquisitions. Meanwhile, league insiders report that Miami's front office is reveling in the perception of outmaneuvering a rival franchise, a sentiment amplified by strategic timing and flawless execution of negotiations. Fans, analysts, and media commentators are dissecting every possible angle, from Fields' expected integration into specific schemes to hypothetical impacts on divisional matchups, generating a continuous wave of speculation and narrative development. Social media platforms are flooded with both support and criticism, with debates often centering on how Fields' presence could shift momentum within key games and influence playoff prospects. The rumor-fueled chatter suggests that this move is more than transactional. It represents a statement of intent, a calculated effort to redefine the competitive landscape and assert dominance within a fiercely contested division, all while keeping the league on edge. The impact on Miami's defensive identity is expected to be profound, with insiders describing Fields as a transformational presence capable of dictating coverage strategies and altering the flow of games in real time. Rumors suggest that his arrival could lead to innovative defensive schematics, including hybrid zone-man coverage, unpredictable rotations, and strategic adjustments tailored specifically to his unique abilities. Analysts speculate that Fields' intelligence, reaction speed, and anticipation could create opportunities for turnovers, disrupt timing patterns for opposing quarterbacks, and force offenses to reconsider their approach from the first snap. Within the Dolphins' locker room, sources report a heightened sense of energy and focus, with players motivated not only by Fields' arrival, but also by the implicit challenge of living up to the elevated standards his presence represents. Off-field considerations are also circulating, with whispers about media attention, endorsement opportunities, and the potential for Fields to serve as a public face for the franchise, enhancing both its brand and cultural impact. Meanwhile, league observers are monitoring responses from rival teams, noting that quarterbacks and offensive coordinators may now spend additional practice hours adjusting to Fields' style of play. Rumors indicate that this adjustment period could create temporary vulnerabilities for opponents, providing Miami with strategic advantages in early matchups and potentially redefining the narrative around the team's trajectory for the remainder of the season. The timing of Fields' transfer continues to be a focal point for speculation, with insiders suggesting that the move may have been strategically timed to maximize both impact and disruption. Whispers indicate that Miami's front office may have been monitoring internal deliberations within the Jets organization, exploiting a perceived window of opportunity to acquire Fields at a critical moment. Sources suggest that negotiations involved highly confidential discussions, multiple contingency plans, and precise contractual structuring, all designed to secure the cornerback without alerting potential competitors. Analysts note that timing in such high-profile transactions is crucial, affecting not only on-field performance, but also team morale, public perception, and market positioning. Social media chatter amplifies these narratives, with fans and commentators speculating on behind-the-scenes maneuvering, potential internal disagreements within the Jets' hierarchy, and the strategic brilliance attributed to Miami's executive decisions. Rumors also point to subtle psychological games, with the acquisition sending a message across the league. Miami is willing to act decisively to strengthen its roster and assert dominance. As discussions unfold, speculation about long-term effects on divisional rivalries, playoff scenarios, and potential future trades continues to intensify, keeping analysts and fans alike engaged in an ongoing cycle of rumor, theory, and narrative building that shows no sign of slowing down, further magnifying the intrigue surrounding Fields' move. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.